Inspire with Nendrix, the foundation.
Hey, Embracing Arms community, this is Dr. Danielle Harrison coming back to you with another 5-minute quickie. It's been about a week or so since I've had an opportunity to come back and chat with you. It's crazy busy here in my office. So I just wanted to come and just share some reflection. Just recently, we all across the country had an opportunity to witness, if you chose to, the trial of Derek Chauvin and patiently waiting to find out if there would be justice for Mr. George Floyd, and just recently heard the verdict read of guilty on all 3 charges. And I know across the nation, people have been really celebrating and cheering and things like that. And I think, some of us are, really just exhausted because as soon as the verdict was read, it was unfortunate that we had to once again read the news of another police officer killing a 16-year-old child. And whatever you think about that situation and the incident and how it unfolded, another child has been killed by the hands of the police without any intention of showing some type of mercy or compassion, with being called to the scene of that particular incident that's going on. Every time I look at the internet and I'm watching people responding to incidences like that, the first thing that they say was a couple things that they say. They question the parenting of the child. They're questioning the child itself, always and constantly questioning the victim without much to say about those who are victimizing. And that is really disheartening. It's frustrating. And we don't hear a lot of that when we're looking at situations where crimes are being committed by those that don't look like me. That is not the first thing that we ask. We don't ask about, bad parenting. We don't further victimize the victim. We don't do that, right? So, or further victimize the perpetrator in many cases. What typically happens with people who don't look like me, who are either being victimized or perpetrators, is that they go to, I wonder what their mental health is. They must have had a bad day. Like it was a bad day. They shot up that church, or they shot up that spa because they were struggling. They was having a bad day. And it's just so unfortunate to kind of watch that. And it's crazy because even with everything that's going on, people who are the ones saying these things, further victimizing those that look like me, who have been gunned down by police officers. Like, they're not even listening to themselves. They're not listening to themselves, and it's just it just breaks my heart. It really, really does. Here's the simple truth of the matter, and this has been said and shared, all over the news. We know that police officers, law enforcement officers, know how to practice restraint. We've seen it. We saw it on January the 6th. I saw it recently when a police officer was trying to arrest a white male in a car. That white male decides to pull off with the police officer attached to the car. No guns were drawn, no taser, nothing. We saw it when a young man walked into a church and lit the church up, killing multiple people, and police officers picked him up, put him in a bulletproof vest and took him to a ride to get something to eat. We see it over and over and over again. So we know passion and consideration and thoughtfulness can be exercised, but our law enforcement officers choose to do what they choose to do. So I say all that to say that, we heard the verdict. People were celebrating across the country, but they didn't stop the crime. It didn't. My heart is broken. It's really, really hard for me to celebrate this because it's not really, it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a Band-Aid. And there's still so much to be done. There's still so much to be done. Two families are forever torn apart. No matter how you look at it. Derek Chauvin's family tore apart, and Mr. George Floyd's family is forever torn apart. There's so much more to be done. So, take some time to reflect and think about the events of not just this year, but just over the years, 50, 60, 70, 100, 400 years of the same thing, different day. Same thing, different leadership. And what aren't we doing? What aren't we doing? We're doing a lot, but what aren't we doing? I don't know. I just wanted to share those reflections. And I want you to, those who are allies, I want you to challenge those and call people in when you're watching these Twitter feeds and these Facebook feeds of those individuals further victimizing victims that look like me. I want you as allies to call them in and challenge them. That's my 5-minute quickie. Go out in the community, embrace someone. They are waiting for you. Continue to live your absolute best life.
My Lacasa boy, this is my residence. My prescription boy, this is my medicine. The world can be sickening, living in house resemblance. Not to mention the media's effort to keep us in the most simplistic state of mind. Lowest age bracket committing the highest rate of crime.